All right, a little bit of audio going here. Let's say hello to the lovely people. So I'm making pretty good progress here on the meshes that I'm making. I'm at a point where I've got a fair amount of confidence in the system that I've got built, and I just really need now to get to a point where I can start filling up this basement. And so I want to start aiming for some of the larger meshes that are going to take up more room. Not that there's any real rhyme or reason behind that, other than I want the place to feel cluttered, and so I feel like having more there in a shorter amount of time um, will will help. And so that's my goal right now. Just start filling up this basement full of crap. I made some changes over the weekend to some of the system here that are things that I think would vastly improve on the object interaction system, and I'll go over those. I'll go over those changes in a minute here. I'm just going to kind of create another asset. Kind of keep plugging away at this thing here, and then we'll go take a look at the world, and I'll kind of show everybody what's different in that world, and that kind of thing. Let's see. Let's flip the normals on this. And I do believe, let's grab all of this. Vertices, one to weld, seal it up, and I'm going to make a duplicate. You know what, I probably do. We're going to leave it like this. So what I'm making here is a big giant screw for the front of this thing. Too many edges on it at the moment, but let's set the X form here. But yeah, I'm making a big giant screw. My Y position, and we're gonna go grab polygons, and we're gonna do a slice plane. Slice plane. Okay, lost it. There it is. And let's see, let's rotate the slice plane 90 degrees. And then in terms of position, I'll go and paste its position back over here. I didn't like that. There. Where the slice plane is in the right place. And I've got a secondary slice plane that needs doing back here. Just gonna go grab a vertex for the position. And we can go slice plane again. And go paste that position and slice. Okay, so I should have two perfectly vertical lines here now that are going to allow me to make this thing a little bit straighter. Ooh, one triangle. There we go. So the idea... Yeah. It's not all that different. So let's see. I've got a curly Q going around. As I mentioned, there are too many edges going around this. It's too high poly for what I want at the moment. So let's go and remove, if I can, every other edge from this. Better. It's 22 edges. More will be 11. Yeah, no, I'm going to leave it here. If I go down one more, I don't think it's going to read very well. And so we're going to leave it where it is. So now I'm going to ring. Oh, odd that didn't. True. Let's check this one too. Either of those worked. There we go. So the idea here is to turn this into a big screw, and make this thing look like it's a pretty heavy duty mechanical thing. Let's see. We're gonna remove this and remove this, and then I'll move the central edge. Cork screwing always is a challenge. So let's go and chamfer this. I'm going to do a single tri-chamfer here. The idea is to get this just big enough, like so. And then we're going to extrude this by local normal. Do that much. Okay, so something like that. Okay. Then I'm just going to collapse the newly formed edges. Like so. That'll give me some threading. I could probably... undo it? I can't undo. I'm just going back to the chamfer here. I'm going to increase the chamfer quite a bit. Give me more out of this thing. Extrude again. Maybe go there. There, that works a little bit better. That's really all I want, is just some big ass bolt. Now, typically I'm not really interested in making bolts. But this one was a little bit more important to the shape and design of this object. And it's also oversized. And being oversized, it's something that needs to actually exist in the world. So let's see, target weld, and you come down here. Don't need this vertex either. Okay. I'm pleased with that. This one here, I mean, I can clean up as well, but it's not as important because it's going to live inside the, I don't want to grab this border here again. And line it up in Y. Oh. That one's going to be inside the object, so I'm not as concerned about it. So the object that I'm making here is meant to fill up a lot of room inside the basement. This is going to be, let's get this guy here. This is going to be my bolt thing. So I want a nice big. So you can see why I want the threading here. It'll become rather important to get that right. So it actually looks like a big ass screw coming out of the front of this thing. So this is going to be the coal powered furnace for inside of the room, inside of the basement. It's one of those things that it'll occupy a very large chunk of real estate in the room, which is good. So that'll be will there be a shining boiler in the basement? Shining boiler? What do you mean by that? You mean a boiler like... I'm just looking at images of one. No, I don't need anything that big. It's still supposed to be a home, right, that this is in. And so I don't want to go, I don't want to get too carried away with it. Okay, so let's take this. I'm going to align it to the screw. Pivot. I'm going to pull it back out. Slide this guy back into the thing here again, or into the object. I'm going to give this a little bit more girth. I want it to just be in front. Now, as mentioned, this is supposed to be a bolt here. And so let's see. It's 12-sided right now, which is no bueno. But it is going to be useful. I'm going to take this and we are going to bevel it. Nowhere near that amount of height. No, that amount. Depth. Maybe about here. And then we'll kill the height altogether. And just come in. Actually, I'm going to just collapse it. And I should probably mirror this along the center as well. Like so. Get rid of that. I'm having an issue with 3ds Max here where Max is resetting my interface every time I convert something to an editable poly. And I've looked into it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just Max being, well, stupid. Every time I right-click on something like this and convert to an editable poly, it resets this menu based off what Max thinks the tools I should be using right now are. And not right, ever. I tell you what, Max, I'll do the modeling. You do the just sitting there and sucking. And we'll see how that works. Okay, so we've got this down to the amount of sides I wanted. Looks like I'm going to have to reduce this, this facade here. Grab the vertices. And then the faces. Bring them in a little bit. Up there. Let's isolate this guy too. And then I'm going to ring this. Oh. And chamfer it. And we're going to do standard triangular chamfer. Bring this back up a little bit. Something like that. Then I'm going to invert, delete, bridge. Damn it. Gotta spin the center circles. Let's see. Rotate, angle synapses. Whoops. Angle synapses on. That should work. We'll try this again. I should get a better result here from my bridge now. A cleaner result. And there, I've got a big ass nut. So what I'm going to do with these things, there's my big nut on my big screw, is take the two of them. And, well, let's find out in X this thing lives. I can't use symmetry here because these shouldn't be threaded in reverse. They should be. Really gonna make me do one at a time. They should be threaded identically, even though they're on opposite sides of the boiler. So there, a couple of nice big nuts on the top of this thing. Thanks, Bray. Kind of you to say. Let's see. I need hinge for each one of those, and I need a handle for each one of the doors. And then I want to make the outputs and then the legs. And this thing will be, say, low poly done. I'm also really not liking this. The silhouette of this, I can really see where those corners are. And that's not sitting well with me. And so I'm gonna increase the resolution of this. Now, the front of the boiler here is actually its own mesh, and the body of the boiler is its own mesh as well. And that's gonna work out to my advantage. Oh, I've unselected here because I'm gonna be able to use Flow Connect to adjust these things and leave the back of the boiler lower poly. So I'm gonna use Flow Connect. like this. And ring, flow connect, ring, flow connect. And this is just going to give me a little bit of a cleaner, damn it, hitting shortcuts here that I don't know. This one, okay, one more. So I think that's going to just give me a little bit more of a round silhouette on the front of this thing with not as many corners noticeable. Now I've got a very big corner here that's noticeable, but that's okay. I'm going to kind of build that into the design of this thing. You got it, dude. Talk to you later. Okay, so there's the front of the boilerplate. And we're going to go bring back the body of the boilerplate. Hide all. I really should just detach the body to make it its own thing. Attach body like so. Now, I need to put some legs on this to hold it up, which is going to be important. I want to duplicate my screws here. I need smaller versions of these screws down here. Let's bring this out. About there. Scale it down. This actually should be fairly centered here in this mesh. Enough. Yeah, that works nice. We're going to grab our X position from here. And then we'll just bring these guys past center so that they get a negative value. And we'll paste this in behind the negative. Like so, and like so. Okay, we got our big bolts at the bottom. I need to put some nice big legs on here, and then the handles, things, and that should be it. I should be good to go. So, let's see. I need an output here. I'm going to do this via cookie cutter, I think. Do this on the right side. And let's see. I need to put a... where do I want this to go? I think I want it to go right in that gap. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go create a cylinder, which is going to be a stand-in for my pipe. Something like this. And I need to figure out how many sides I want all my pipes to have. I think I'm going to go 18. Now let's do 16. I got to cut this into my mesh, so I don't want to go too high. But at the same time, I don't want it to be so low that it doesn't look round. Now what I need to do is I need to build this into a flange. So essentially the body of this thing is one big piece of metal, and this has been molded. So this actually should flow smoothly into this piece here. So the way that I'm going to do that, we're just going to isolate these two pieces. I'm going to take the little cylinder mesh that I just made. We'll convert that to an editable poly. I'm going to grab its face, invert, and delete. So I just have the face. And then I'll go back to this mesh in wireframe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut with the snaps turned on. This is going to snap the vertices to this object. However, this object is floating in front. And so it won't really interfere. I'm not on that new edge. And so I can kind of go and place this around here. Like so. So that gave me a perfect circular cutout on the side of this thing. And I now don't need the circle anymore. And now what I can do with this thing is start building that that flange out of this. So if I take this and extrude it, I'm going to extrude it 0. and then move it manually and line it up to X. That'll give me now a perfect circle cut out of the side of this thing. I'm going to have to redo the back of this as well. I'm not with what I'm seeing at the back. We're going to go and delete that. I need to triangulate what's going on here. So I'm going to do this automatically with a turn to poly, like so. And should be fine. I'm going to remove the cap on this thing. I actually don't want these edges on here. It would be nice if I plane this a little bit better, but that'll be okay. So we're gonna go smoothing group here. Set this to 1. Actually, this whole friggin' thing should be set to 1, like so. And now I can start worrying about the flange type setup. Stop opening up things I don't want, Max. So let's see, we're going to turn to poly, and we're going to keep our polygons convex. And then I'm going to go polygons, grab my cylinder, shift, grab my edges, and remove this. I've now got that, and I'm going to build a chamfer into this. I'm going to go to the quad chamfer and set my tension to 0.5. And I might give it a second iteration and open it up a little bit. Wow, that is ugly. Let's try, instead of the quad, the uniform. I'd say the uniform's better, but it's still not doing a good job. So what I'm going to do is undo to before I put the turn to poly on here. Almost there. Might have just run out of undo steps. All right. Screw you. Okay, we're going to take another run at this. That did not go as well as I was hoping. Okay. So maybe what I'll do, instead of purposely putting it in a bend, I'll put it on the flat area here, which will work better. Something about that size, convert it to editable poly, go to polygons, this, invert, delete, turn that off, grab my shape, vertices, cut, and then let's go through and cut this sucker with snaps turned on. So something like that. Now it's gone and created a branch here, which I don't want. I'm going to go to cut, and I'm going to create my own. Branching here. So the idea here is that I don't want any n-gons on this, but at the same time, I'm not looking to fully model everything. I just kind of need to get close enough shape. I'm going to put one of these on the other side as well. I think will read quite nicely. Anyway. Cut again. Okay. Last 2, here to here, and from here up. Now, in doing the topology in this way, this kind of spiderwebby pattern here, I'm kind of doing this on purpose as well, because it's going to allow for better, subdivisions when I do that. So if I go and grab this polygon again and extrude it like so, I'm going to delete that cap as well. So what I should be able to do now is take this and get a very clean chamfer on it, instead of the mess that I had before. And so, again, this is all supposed to look like it's been molded out of one object. And so I want to get that that sensation here by having this look like it blends in to this object. And then the other thing that's really nice about this is that this thing is going to subdivide really nicely once I connect all those edges. But in here, it's just going to look really, really clean when it's high poly, which is kind of what I'm after, because I'm going to have to bake this out. Okay, there's one output on this thing, and I need to put several more along the top. Now, there's a trick I'm going to employ here, which is I'm going to grab the polygons here that make up this planar face, and I'm going to hold shift and bring them up here, and I'm going to grab this thing and rotate it 90 degrees like so. I'm going to grab all of the vertices of this thing, and then using snaps, I'm just going to snap the corner vertex right up against this mesh here, right in the corner. And so what that's done is it's gotten me most of this thing built on its own. I'll just grab these vertices, the very far right ones, and I'll just snap them here. And there, that's now exactly where I want it. So if I go to polygons, delete this face, and attach this, I now have a top loading cylindrical hole here as well. Now I actually don't want the flange on the top to be anywhere near as large as the one here, but that's an easy fix to do as well. All I got to do now is just continue my cuts from where they were at the bottom here. So cut, I'll go from here, here, and because these were copied from the same piece of geometry, we should end up with perfect interconnecting pieces here. So something like that. Again, I'm going to need to carry these up and over and around that other piece. But that's going to work like that. Maybe what I'll do is do these other 5 cuts here and then symmetry over. I'll start here. I'm just looking to start somewhere past center. I don't really care where they go. Stuff is all insignificant. Okay. Turn that off. Let's grab all the holes. Control, grab vertices and weld. And then grab all the holes again and make sure that that sealed itself up, which it did. And now a very quick mirror, and I get my flanges on the other side. Now before the mirror, I'm going to fix the scale of this one. I go into my top view, vertices, and grabbing all them there vertices and scaling it down. Now, because I'm only scaling in the 2 axes here, this is doing exactly what I wanted to do. Next, I'm going to shrink my selection and compress this a little bit, and then move it down until it fits where it's supposed to go. And there, now I've got a smaller flange built into the top. Now I'm going to be putting pipes into these things. So I will close them off and chamfer that edge just to make it look a little bit more round, catch the light a little bit better. So let's kill that, quad chamfer, and set my mount such. Again, we're going to set the entire object to smoothing group number 1. With the way that I've got the faces set up, that should be absolutely beautiful. And then we can turn this off near invertedable poly. And I think that's going to work for what I wanted to do. There really should be a series of flanges along the top of this thing. But I think I'm going to be able to work with just 2. And then, yeah, we'll see how that works. So let's get out of here. And yes, quite pleased with that. Lovely. The next thing I want to do is to go and get my handles built and the actual axles here for the pins. So let's do the axles for the pins first. Let's start with this guy. And all I'm going to do here is just grab a row of polygons like so, and then holding shift, scale them in a little bit, and I'm going to make this a new object. I'll grab said object, flip its polygons around so they're facing the right way. This is going to come up because I've got to put a pin on the top, and the bottom, wherever that happens to be, is going to go down, and I got to put a pin on the bottom here too. So I'll try and do these simultaneous like. Now this one should come to just be over. So the pin is just going to be extruding out. And extruding out. That did. Okay, screw it. We'll do one at a time. This out. In and collapse. Then I'm going to go and chamfer this edge. Get a little bit cleaner. Grab these edges here and we'll symmetry. There, we got a pin. So that's how the door hinge works. And then symmetry to the other side. And we got the 2 top door pins done. I'll move down to the bottom pins, or the main door pins. And we'll see what we can do about those. Same process. I'm going to start with the inside of this, which I'm just going to shift select, hold shift, and scale in a little bit. Only just slightly smaller. Up there. Make this a new object. Take said object. And I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Down. There. And then again, I'll do the just manipulating the top of this thing. I'm going to flip our polygons inside out again. Go. So hold shift and scale out, up, in and collapse. Grab this edge and chamfer. And make it slightly rounded. Give it a nice clean shape. I'll grab the center edges and symmetry in Z. There's the bottom of that bolt. So lovely. Christian, if you're going to show up here day after day, I'd appreciate it if you didn't just talk out of your ass, my friend. You better be. Really, there's not a lot of difference between them. If you can model in one, you can model in the other. Just a matter of comfort level. And again, I tend to bounce back and forth between the two, right? I teach both software packages now, unlike when I taught you. I'm now teaching Maya at Sheridan, and so I've been spending quite a bit of time in Maya, getting to know Maya again. Getting to know Autodesk software is like it's like a visit from an old friend that slept with your wife. You don't really like that guy. But yeah, it doesn't take a lot to kind of get back into the groove of things with this software. All right, let's go to a chamfer on here. Again, 2. Let down a little bit to give it some rounding. I haven't been checking any of the rounding on these things. I don't care if they're different. In terms of like how high the cap is, how round the cap is. Honestly, I don't care. It can be the same, it can be different. I don't think it's going to be anything that anybody even notices. So good, Max thinks I want stupid software. Thinks I want my soft selection again. Not the case. Subdivision surface. Don't want any of that stuff. Okay. So that stuff's all good to go. The last thing I need is the little handles that are going to live on each one of these doors to open them. And the handles are all going to be built exactly the same. So this is an old coal-powered furnace, which is going to live in the basement. And yeah, what you would do is you would open up these doors, shove a bunch of coal in there. The fire would be here, and it would kind of heat up, and that's how you would heat your home. It was something that was done long, long ago. And since I'm really trying to go old school with this home that I'm building, I figured doing an old coal furnace place would suit the environment better than a modern day, forced air furnace. Just with the place being all ransacked and in a state of disarray, it just didn't make a lot of sense to have the place look like that. Okay, so handle for the door. We're gonna come out 90 degrees and down, and then I'll right click to end that. So there's a spline, and I'm gonna move the spline over hereabouts. It's not too bad. I'm gonna move it down. I want it to be a little bit more centered. We'll go into the vertex here. This one doesn't need to be that low. And I'm gonna grab this one, and I'm gonna head over to my fillet, and I'll fillet this one. Give me a rounded curve. We'll go into rendering, and we'll do this in the viewport. And 12 sides is fine. Thickness, let's do 2.45. 2.54. I think that's too thick. But just 2. Yeah, 2 works. Okay, convert this to an editable poly. I'll have to clean that up. That's fine. We're gonna grab this. I'm gonna bring it back here. And let's see. Let's do extrude. Sure. And we'll bring the extrusion back until it too just barely goes inside. I'll delete the extrusion and extrude these guys anew. Build a ring for the end of this thing. And there's my handle. Down here, we should probably clean up. Something like that. I'm gonna, even though this is more expensive, I'm gonna add another edge in here. The reason I don't really care about expense on this object is that it, compared to a lot of the other things in the room, this actually is fairly low poly. And so it's not really going to matter so much if I get a couple of extra edges in here. And so I'm doing things like chamfering corners and chamfering edges to give me the best possible. God damn it. The best possible shape on this thing. That one I'm going to leave where it is. Let's do a chamfer here. And essentially this whole thing's just going to be like rusted, painted metal. So in the end, it's not going to look so clean. Okay. Van handle. I'm going to duplicate that onto all the other doors. Up here. And let's see. Pull this out. Well, again, it just barely goes in. Let's grab the X position of this. Make a duplicate. And paste the X position in without the minus. And that one's done. And then we'll put one more down here. I'll pull out. Whoa, easy. Now, what probably makes the most sense, let me see what I've done here. Oh, that sucks a bunch. And this one? Okay, that one sucks less, but still sucks. I've got some holes in some of my topology here I need to clean up. Bridge that. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to actually make it look like this thing's been used. And it's not just, you know, left here in brand new shape. You know, it needs to look old. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the face here. And I'm going to hold shift and bring it in. And then I'm going to extrude it out like so. Should be plenty. We're going to go and round off some of these edges a little bit. This, bring that down quite a bit. That. I might do this one too. This is not going to chamfer well. With all of this triangulation in place. Blast you, triangles. Yeah, that's going to be a hot man. Okay, I won't do that then. Let's do this one. This one I can chamfer. Okay. So the idea here is that it would probably make a little bit of sense if we could see some of the interior of this thing. And so what I'll do is kind of just use this interior plate that I made here, and I'll kind of fake a little bit of an interior. So we'll scale this up. And let's remove this in edge mode. And I'll just flatten this out here. And then I'm going to hold shift and we'll just bring this all the way back. So I don't really need to see too much of what's in there, but it will help tremendously in giving me some kind of, make it look a little bit more dynamic, if that makes anything. Makes any sense. So it's just going to give me a better silhouette. Instead of it being an old, decrepit, which, I mean, it still is. But instead of it just being this old, decrepit thing, it's now going to be this old, decrepit thing that looks like it might have been used and left in a state of, you know, kind of being used. Which I think is going to work out better in the long run. So let's do some more target welding here. So I'm reducing the amount of polygons that I need on the inside. We're not going to see the inside of this thing, but I also don't need this thing to be mental in terms of the amount of topology here. So we're just going to make it a box on the inside, like so. And then I'm just going to cap it. So those and bridge them in there. So what that's going to do is, if we isolate this guy, is that it's going to look like there's an inside to this thing, which is going to be awesome, because it means that instead of having the main door perfectly sealed like all of the other doors, we're going to undo a bunch. I welded things that shouldn't have been welded. Yeah. It's dumb. I didn't realize I was selecting through and merging everything together. Let's do this. Dang it. Not that one. No. Same thing here. Okay. I'll try to weld that now. Over here. Over here. And this is like really just to start filling up space in the basement. So that it feels, again, like we're getting a house, right? That there is all of the inner workings of this structure. Just this one. And we'll remove these two and bridge. Okay. We'll unhide all. And now what I need to do is crack the door open a little bit. So to do this, I'm going to start with the hinge. I'm going to start with the hinge, and I'm going to say effect pivot only, center to object, like so. Then I'm going to grab the door, and I'm just going to parent these things together. Let's convert that to an editable poly. So we're going to go to the link, and I'm going to link the handle to the door and the door to the pin. And so now if I rotate the pin, I should be able to open the door. And the idea here is that I just want this to, let's kill the rotation snaps. I just want this to be cracked open a little bit. Again, it's just going to be pitch black in there. We're not going to see anything. But it will definitely... would long, thin triangles create UV mapping, relaxing problems? Yeah, probably. We'll see how that works out. But because this object is nothing more than a big box, not really worried about UVs, right? Box mapping is kind of just automatically on its own. Going to give me everything I need. So I'm going to go around here. Looks like I managed to weld two vertices together. Good for me. I want to give this a little bit more of a dynamic shape as well. I'm going to chamfer it. Get all my edges. More. All right, so chamfer, and again, I'm just going to do a little micro chamfer on here. I don't need it to be much, but it's going to be the difference between it being a 90-degree corner or a sharp-looking corner, and it's just looking a little bit rounded, which I think is going to suit it a little bit better. Okay, so now I got to fix up the little mistake I made here in this. And so the way that I'm going to do that is just by grabbing these two edges, holding shift and dragging them back, convert to vertice, turn on my snaps, and snap this one here. And then going back to edges, and we're going to hold shift and snap back in, like so. Control, grab vertices. We'll leave that one where it is, and we'll just snap this one here, this one here. Grab the whole thing and weld it. And I've got a little bit of a gap in between the two, but we're not going to see in behind this thing, so that shouldn't be an issue. Okay. I need some nice big industrial legs now on the bottom of this thing. Coal furnace. I'm going to go see if I can find an old... So I'm looking at Google images here of old coal furnaces. And the idea is that I've just built a really, really big one of like these kind of things. And again, it kind of fits because the blueprints that I used for making the house were really, really big and oversized. So it's kind of like this type thing. This is what I'm making, but again, on a larger scale even than this. So what I'm looking for here now is the legs upon which these big old things sit, and I want to make them kind of U-shaped, so that it's almost like using a curve to help hold the whole thing together. Okay, so maybe I'll go it alone. I'm not really seeing much in terms of reference here, so let's do it all myself. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Pull this over. Okay. So the idea, let's do this in the front, is that I would like rounded legs that kind of stick out on either side to support this thing. And I think what I might do is do them with a curve here. Maybe even a circle. So let me do that. Let's turn off the rendering. And again, I need to make sure that it fits in the basement too, so I don't want to go too big with it. Let's not screw that up. Okay. I think I'm going to go here. Convert this to a spline. We're going to delete the segments I don't need, which are those three. And we're going to create a line starting at his point and pass the origin like so. And I'm going to create another point here. To turn that off, bring that down a little bit as well. So the idea here is that this is kind of the structure of the leg, and I'm going to build it off of this. I'm going to weld my points together here so that I've got a singular spine, and that at the middle point, so that I can make the other side fairly easy. The next thing that I want to do, let's do this in the front view again here. Create a line, hold S, is make the inner shape, turn S off. So I'll make the feet about yay big, I think. And this is going to come up out here, and then just go straight across. This 2 should be at the middle point. I'm going to fillet this one, though I'm not trying to match the curve of that one. I want them to look different. Okay, next we put an extrude on this. Let's delete the extrude and weld this stuff together. Weld. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more shape. Create a line here to here. And yes, we'll weld those together. And now extrude nicely. It's still not gonna work. Now extrude. There we go. So it's going to be about the size of the legs. Set to an editable poly. I'm going to bring it in behind the boilerplate face. I don't want it to get interfered with there. There are going to be feet, rounded feet that go on the bottom of this, but I want to give it the same kind of inset that I've got on this shape. So I'll grab these two faces and inset. Nope, not yet. First, symmetry. It's not going to work. See, symmetry. And now I can do together. We'll inset. Let's do 1.5. Say okay. And then I'm going to extrude inward. Say 1.5 as well. Okay. Something like that. And then I'm going to put a center edge on here. Ring. Don't need soft selection. Do need edit geometry. Let's go and connect this. And then I'm going to chamfer that. Quad chamfer, tri chamfer. Something like that. Grab that all the way around. Extrude it. A local normal out. All at one. And to make the shape whole, I'll get rid of the edges I don't need. And in the front, need the height of this. Merge this down into that same area. Okay. The next thing I want to do is to build the feet. I should have the same number of connections here. That should quad up for me quite nicely. I'm wondering if I can build the feet out of this. I'm going to. Let me select the entire bottom and open it up. And then what I'm going to do is just hold shift and drag that out. Drag it up. Drag it out. Down. And then we'll bridge them together. And there. That's what the feet look like. Click pivot only. Put it at the 0. Here in symmetry. 2 feet. 2 feet. I should probably actually make them touch, so that we have an actual sense of weight bearing. And I'll put another set at the back. Which, speaking of the back, probably, close that up. So I'm going to go all the way around here. Let's actually get rid for now. And we'll just bridge that. Ring, connect. Braze back. So I don't think any of you guys are going to notice this or not, but I've abandoned Twitch. So all of you guys should actually see all of the text now. I just wasn't getting enough viewers on Twitch to make it worth it, and so I just said screw it and got rid of them, scrapped them, and so now I'm just doing YouTube. I'm gonna cap that and put these across. Well, it wasn't any extra bandwidth. It was actually just sending the signal to 2 places. But anybody that came on Twitch only stayed for about 2 minutes or so, didn't really hang out and watch a bunch, and didn't really interact too much with the audience as well. So I figure since most of the people that watch are watching on YouTube, I'll just continue with YouTube. Something like that. And I'll do the same thing across here. It is worth attaching the back because that'll mess with lighting in the engine if you don't do that. If I do a light bake and there's a very powerful light that can see the back of this thing, the light will shine through this thing like it doesn't exist. And so, yeah, no, I close it off. When you can close stuff off, it always works better that way. I'm gonna do a cut right up Wall Street here. Merge those things together. And I've got this guy here too. I'm just gonna bring him down to the center. Like that. Make sure that nothing is open back here. And it's not. Okay. So I got one big ass furnace here. Low poly done. So what I'm going to do is I've got to texture this thing. I've got to unwrap this thing. So what I want to do before I start doing that is getting the shape to be right in terms of scale. So I'm going to go and place it on the ground here first and foremost, so that it's in the right place. That's pretty centered front to back. And then what I'm going to do, I'm not animating any of this, so I can go and affect all the pivot points. And we're going to move them all to the origin. So I'll just zero them all out, like so. And then we're going to do a reset X form on the entirety of this thing. And that should be that. So, off to Maya with this thing. Export selection. Let's see. Let's go to... I'm not in the right place here. There we go. Cabin in the Woods. FBX. And I'll just put it in here. This is called Furnace. And again, it's a nice big mesh. Going to occupy a lot of space in the furnace, or in the basement, which is good. Ooh! My door broke. So that was probably in resetting the X form that happened. And the reason it happened is the connections are still live. I'm going to break the connections, reset the X form on everything. And that should be good. I'm not going to bother with my spooling groups just yet, but I'm going to re-export this whole sucker here. File, export selected. Let's try this again. Furnace. I've got some Ngons and stuff on here. These are going to cause problems inside of Maya. And so we're going to see if Max's quadrangulate here can fix this. And it does not appear to. So the quadrify all in Max won't get rid of Ngons and make them quads. Which, that was a pipe dream if I ever had one. Okay, so let's now go to Projects, Cabin in the Woods, FBX, Furnace. Bring this into Maya. And let's see what we can do in Maya here. Now, Maya will have... Maya doesn't put up with Ngons. And so when you bring an object into Maya and it contains Ngons, Maya triangulates it. And so I end up with something like this. Now, I'm not okay with this because I need to build my high poly as well. However, if I use this guy as the base for my high poly, I should be okay. But it might be worth cleaning this up anyway. So I'm going to delete all that and go back into Max here and see what I can do about getting rid of these Ngons. So this shouldn't be too hard because a lot of this stuff is generated out of splines. And the nice things about splines is that as long as you've got your iterations set on your spline, which you can't build one without it, you're going to end up with comparable topology. So, for instance, I made 2 curves on this mesh, and I did them in different ways. But because the iteration was set to 8, I ended up with 8 curves here. And that simplifies my life a lot more. So I'm going to just mirror this over and call it yay, done. We'll get out of... Let's check all these things here as I go. Selection, N-gons. And no, there's none on that. Okay. We're going to get out of isolation. We'll delete the back feet. And now just copy this one over. And there. So that part's done. Okay. This mesh. This is another one that has an issue with the amount of rounding I did on here. So I don't know that this one is going to be as easy to clean up, but I'm going to give this a whirl. Let's go to the front. And I should be able to get a few of these done. Now, these do line up at the bottom here to a place that's not going to work. So what I'm going to do is bring this across like that. And that gave me a quad in the middle. And then if I just do offsetting numbers here, like this. In fact, let's undo all of that, because I ended up with triangles there, and I can do this without triangles. By doing this. And then just offsetting them like so. That left me with a quad in the middle instead of a triangle, which is much cleaner. And that's all triangulated now. And then we'll do the same thing across here. And I got to use the marquee to select, because I'm doing both the front and back of this thing simultaneously, in order to make sure that nothing gets left behind. No vert left behind. And through there. These ones, I'm going to do the same thing here. And go cross and cross, and that's all quadded off. I need to do something with this vert. I'm going to end up with an N-gon here. And I need to do something with these. So let's kill this edge, since I can put it back in a moment. And I'll just quad straight across. Now, Maya does have a really good quadrangulate feature. However, it doesn't clean up N-gons. That's kind of an issue. Okay. Let's try this now. Polygons greater than... Oh, snap. Okay, bad job. Bad job. I can bring that across there. Okay. This is going to use the cut tool. Fuck off, soft selection. I hate you, Max. Come on. Okay. And same thing in the back. God damn it. Oh, you know what? I can delete the back. Just back. Because this one is mashed up against the other face. So that'll save me some time there. So unlike the boiler where I deleted the back of the object, this one I can delete the back because it's visible here. I'll have to close this stuff up because it's actually inside of another mesh, and as a result, it's going to you know what? Screw it. Just do this. Grab this polygon and do a mirror this way. All that done. It's not the shape it's supposed to be, but it'll work. Okay, those guys are good. This guy's got N-gons somewhere. Don't see him. There they. Really? Greater than 4 sides. How are those n-gons? I used turn to poly on this. What do you mean there are more n-gons now? Ooh, yeah, that chamfer did not work. The chamfer that I was doing to soften the shape here didn't go all the way around the shape, and as a result, it created some uglies on here. And I think I can fix this. We're gonna use, no, that should be fine. Bring the amount down to make it match. So, and then just bridge it across. Target weld, top one here, bottom one here. Move this edge. Shouldn't exist in the first place. Here. And unshrink this. Okay. That's cleaner. That edge doesn't do anything. That. And collapse that. Do that. I really screwed this up good. I'm going too quickly with some of these meshes here trying to get this done. You're going to go here, here, go here. Triangulation needed. Cut. Triangulation. Okay. That should work nicely. Let's see what the Sam hell is that? That's fine. Either two edges going this way. Shouldn't do that. That should go up there. That one's needed. That one's not. Okay. Let's see if we can find some more n-gons here. So it says this is an n-gon. Control edges. 3. Methinks Max is broken. This would not be the first time that I've thought Max was broken. Greater than 4. Very clearly triangles. What the hell is wrong with Max? Even this in here. This. Control. Edges. 3. Okay, let's grab all the vertices and do a little brief weld of nothingness here. 938 to 938, so it's not welding anything. How about less than? How about greater than? What? Okay. So switching back and forth fixed it. So from here to here, fixes that. So yeah, it was selecting fewer than instead of greater than. Stupid, stupid software. Christian, are there random vertex? Random vertices like just floating out in space? There shouldn't be. The test for that is to select your mesh, hold control, grab vertices, and then hit invert, control I, and you should end up with nada, which is what I gotta. Okay. Let's do this the shortened way here. I'm going to put an edit poly modifier on the whole thing. And what this is going to allow me to do is search for n-gons. Oh, sure, it doesn't work with that. Okay. Fine. Won't do it that way. Let's check this guy. Greater than 4. Okay. Oh, yeah. See that one. Okay, and then how are these ones? Oh, I didn't cut all the way across. Get the grid out of here. And again, if I was really worried about topology, this would be a bad thing, right? Just having all of these edges that don't do anything, looping all over this mesh. It would be better to triangulate them off. However, I don't care. Go and mirror this thing over. There we go. Let's just double check that this guy hasn't any. None. Stupid menu looking. Okay. I have a funny feeling that one of the doors does. That one's good. Those ones are out of it. So it should be good. Okay. Maya. Again. Export. Selected. Furnace. And however many n-gons I end up with in Maya, it's going to be just dealt with, because I also don't want to spend forever making a freaking furnace. Okay, that's way better. In fact, it appears I got all of them. Yay! All right, UV editor. So, Maya time. Let's go into a planar map on this guy. And we'll move it outside of the UV space. And time for some quick edges. So this edge, which should go all the way around, though it doesn't. Here. And here. On this side. Selected. Oh, I've got symmetry turned on. I'm going to break that. And we'll do this one. This one and this one. Break that. Flip the thing around. And we'll do this one. This one. This one. And break. And we'll do the back. Here. Here. And here. And we'll break. Let's see. Should go around the foot. And we'll do this one. And I'm going to do the bottom of the foot. So. And then the same two loops in here. Okay, legs are unwrapped. Do this edge. I'll split that. Let's see what missed. Maya's burning my eyeballs here. Let's go into my attribute editor. Go into the Lambert. Darken this sucker up. Here to see what's going on. Okay, so it missed here. Okay. That guy I think is going to be good. Now I did mirror him over. Have to delete him. Go all the way around. So have you guys seen the reviews for The Last of Us Part 2? What a shit show. I've been foretelling of that game not doing well for quite some time. I don't actually think it was going to come out. I thought the whole pandemic in a pandemic is a bad idea. You know, designing a game to mimic real life the way they did. Probably not such a good idea. But it's getting dragged through the coals. It has a 3 out of 10 on Metacritic with the user scores. The critics give it like a 9.5, but that's because they're, oh god, they're so far down Sony's throat that you can't tell where one ends and the other one starts. But yeah, it's being roasted, which is a shame. You know, I know a lot of people worked hard on that game and put, you know, some really cool tech into the game too. There's some really neat things I've been seeing come out of people playing the game that is just like a very big wow to how they built this thing. And it's just kind of sad to see that, you know, all that effort being thrown away by some stupid decisions that writers make and directors and producers and all that. You know, they also have this whole, I don't, you know, with the reviews and people saying that's really stupid, and then the creators saying we don't care if the users think it's stupid, we think it's a great story, and like still moving forward. Just foolish decisions everywhere, you know. Okay, see how much non-manifold geometry we have in here. Some. But yeah, it's getting lambasted. Ooh. Oh, that's not gonna be good. So something not UV correctly. That's, what is that? Oh, that's the hinge, which for whatever reason is in the wrong place on that side. Not sure how that happened. One of these guys do a box map on this. Okay, that's better. My guess is these are all the hinges. Yeah. Let's go fix this box. That's it. I can mirror those ones over. Go box map on that. It's all over. That should clean up all the really ugly stuff. Okay, this guy. I've obviously got some edges I need to connect in here. Which we'll get to here. Second, let's do this. And straighten that guy out. Actually, let's stay in edge mode here. See what we about. That. What? I should end up with 4 of these things. Okay, edges. You. Oh. Oh. That one can. That one can. That one can. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's correct. Edge, edge, orient, edge, 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 edge. These should be all straight. I'm gonna make sure. Okay. That stuff's all done. These guys. Those are just all of this. Okay. And that works out. Small ones here. And those again. Ooh. Too much. Okay. This. Mirror duplicate. Good. That. 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 Okay. These things should be done. Let's go and align them. So I'm at a point here with UVing that I can unwrap a fairly complex model inside of Maya in a few minutes now, with just kind of plugging away with what the tools do. It's really, really nice. You don't spend a long time doing UVs. It's also nice with live streaming to be able to do this too, because you know it's really boring to do UVs, but man, it must be even worse to watch somebody do them. And so it's one of those things that kind of allows you very quickly to kind of plot out some of this stuff and get it done without really too much seen here. Split this one. See how well that unwraps. I have to split these top and bottom. Too big. And then I need the interior of this. Split this again. Middle edge. Split. Should unwrap a little nicer. Okay, so what have I got over here? Oh, yeah. Come on. Something still attached. One edge. Right there. That should be straighter. That guy's good. This one. Good. This is the interior. And let me just a little bit here. And the way that I'm going to unwrap this. Better or worse? Worse. Go box map. Better. Like that. This. That over here. Straighten these two pieces out. Edge this orient. That orient. Those are nice and straight. Split this guy. Shape out of this. It's a better shape. Okay, those guys are done. I'm going to split the top of the boiler plate too. Only because it's going to give a better result. I pack. Okay, let's go pack that. So I tend to do this pretty iteratively. Unwrap a bit, pack it, unwrap a bit, pack it. Makes it a lot easier to do without having to take many passes at this. So there's that. Yeah, I might manually go straighten these things out. That's bad use of UV space. Okay, this guy appears to have been UV'd and just didn't get aligned. So that's definitely going to get straightened. Okay, looks nice and straight. Let's see if I can do the same thing with these guys. Them out here. Rotate. Off symmetry for the king. And see what I can use. Let's try and optimize them a little bit. No. Okay, straighten UVs. Optimize. Straighten. Optimize, straighten. Straighten. We're getting a little bit of wonk here. Not the end of the world. That. Grab the vertices. This one. And these ones. Just kind of manhandling this into a little bit of a closer shape. Should be able to get this to... Come on, I'm not clicking near that. There. Those should both straighten really good. Well, that's funky. Got weird in the middle. Doesn't it always get weird in the middle? Nice and straight. Okay, those guys are good to go. What is this? This is around the legs. And I have a very clear break point here. Let's go and turn symmetry again. Together. Like that. That should break up both sides. I should have another leg somewhere. Maybe that's it. This and this unfold. Much better. This out of the way. And we'll use the center edges to align. There's the other one. We'll do the same thing here. Break. This shape. Unfold. Edge. Little orient. What the hell is that? Edge on this. Okay. This, hold better. Edge, this. Orient. Those guys are lovely. Here. Transform, rotate. Down here. Okay, this. Okay, these guys. So I'm playing here with these as well. We're going to split the edge up all the way around. We'll break those. And break that. And those should unwrap really nicely. Or closer. I would straighten these out. That's going to be a nightmare. And separate. So cylinder. Are you? Where's my cylinder? That is not how you should be aligned. This. Oh. Oh. Can't click on the handle in the model. God dang it. Okay, undo. Try and manhandle this into being straight. I'm just gonna button mash the optimize here. Get it as close as it'll go. Being straight. And then I'll try and straighten it. Optimize, straighten. Optimize, straighten. Straighten. Done. Same with this one. Optimize the crap out of it. Get it as close as it'll go. And then straighten, optimize, straighten, straighten. Come on now. Corner. Okay. Those two things. Good. Discs. Good. Top ones should have the same thing. Where I have one side, the other side, and those guys are good. Do an edge here. And break it. And we'll button mash optimize until straight as they'll go. And then optimize, straighten, optimize, straighten, optimize. Over and over and over and over. The one thing I like about Max with the UV editor is that it's iterative, so it clicks the button for you. It doesn't know when it's done, but it'll click the button for you. Nice. Almost there. Done. Okay, those are done. What are you? The feet. Let's try to lay out the feet here. Some really tiny polygons in the center, which I think might be the bottoms. Hey, where are the bottoms? Oh, what is that? That doesn't, not the same shape. There we go. That, print. All those guys done. This. Better. one. Done. No. Here. Those are the doors, bolts, handles. It's going to be fine. I'll just straighten it. That's just not getting a crazy in-depth texture. It's mostly just going to be all rusted metal. I'm looking at a lot of these things. Try and get the idea of what they would look like. They're all kind of just like cast iron rusted over. So it should make for a fairly easy texturing job. Okay, so off symmetry. Fine, that's as good as I care to get. Okay, it's the doors. The only place I really should split up this door is going to be in and around the socket. Let's go to object mode. Grab the door. Easier. Around there, and the underside, and the underside. Which technically, I don't even need these polygons. We're not going to see them. But again, I have this penchant for wanting my meshes to be closed. Okay, that split, that split, that split. This should go all the way around. Around. Split that, and split it up the back. Like so. And we'll split this. And I think just this. Open. Okay, that's that one. Okay. I think that one's good to go. The other thing I hate about Maya is that when you're in the UV editor, you can still manipulate and move your model, which I have a bad habit of doing all the freaking time. Every time I middle mouse click and drag somewhere and manipulate my model. I did this when I was working on one of the cars in Max, and it pissed me off because I had spent hours unwrapping the car. Wasn't until I started texturing it that I was like, why does nothing line up? Only to find out that I had probably done it with the middle mouse button. And click and drag, and it's gone in Maya. Okay. That guy's good. I've got the same, essentially the same shape here on all of these things, which again will make my life easier because I already know where the seams go. I just follow them around. Okay, that one's good. I'm going to split the back of the door up from the front of the door too. Once I get the hinges off, that'll make my life a little. Okay. Bottom door, last door. That. And here. Yeah, I'd very much like it if 3D software packages made it so that when you are editing UVs, you cannot edit your mesh or its construction. In the butt, get very much into unwrapping something, and then when you finally think you're done, you're like, yes, and you go look at your model and it's got something misplaced. Sucks a bunch. Okay. So this guy. Same thing. Okay. This needs to be split too. Okay, so that door should be good. So this is why it's always preferable to model with really clean quadrant topology, is that it just makes things like selecting edges when you're doing your seams so much faster when you can just double click a couple of places and have it go all the way around your model. Whereas when you do a lot of weird stuff like this, you end up having to shift click your way around the model for a couple of days trying to get, you know, this precise path that you want. That one split. Should be that guy. 3. Last one. And now the hinge that got shifted, I'm going to have to mirror that back over. And the only reason I haven't done it yet is because I figured I might as well get the UVs done first. And then go place it. Okay. Let's do a preliminary unfold. See where this gets us. Not so bad. So bad. Let's do a layout of these guys. Which I know isn't going to be clean, but at least scale them. My textile density correct? Oh, that's longer than it should. Okay. Stuff all down. Let's see what we can do about straightening some of this stuff up. Again, in the long run, it doesn't really matter. Ooh. That out. Straighten that out. That out. So why you want your UVs straightened is, if you think about it logically for a second, you're going to be texturing an object. And textures are made up of a large collection of pixels. And pixels are square, not round. And so when you unwrap things, it makes a lot more sense. I don't look right. Honestly. I see not unwrapped. Here's the edge there. Better. And so yeah, if your textures are square and your UVs are square, then they're going to line up with the pixels of your texture, and it means you'll get a much better unwrap. This one out. Another one that missed a couple of edges. Yes. And we can go in here. Some of these other guys. We are getting somewhere. Okay, doors are done. Let's get out of isolation mode. That should be everything. Let's see what this gives us. Now, I am a little concerned with this mesh because it is a fairly large object. And I'm worried about the textile density of this thing. I'm worried about getting a low resolution texture on this one compared to everything else in the room. So we'll see how this works out. And then maybe what I'll do, there's 7 of you guys here right now, is I'll go through and I can give an update on what I've changed in the project over the weekend. Because there were a lot of things that I just kind of 10-15 minutes here played with something and got to a point where I'm pretty happy with the way the system works. Including something actually I even did at the beginning of the stream, just trying to get to a point where I had stuff set up in a way that was going to work. So it's a pretty clean UV layout. There's a good chunk of empty space here. So I'm wondering if I maybe split this guy again. Try and do another layout. If it'll give me something. It may be able to pack in a little bit tighter if that one mesh, which is the largest mesh, largest UV island isn't occupying so much space. So we'll see how this goes. And then I can high poly this thing and slap some texturing onto it. Okay. And as I had hoped, it did give me a little bit of a better layout. I'm just going to go straighten this guy out. Looks like he was a little crooked. 1, 2. Okay, I'm pleased with the UVs we can get out of Maya. Object mode, file, export, selection. And we're going to go, let's see, desktop, projects, cabin in the woods, FBX. And this is the furnace. Lower right. Wow, there is like a whole bunch of chat that I did not see. All the way back to when I was talking about The Last of Us. Chat did an update in my window. Yeah, I can't unwrap in Max without text tools either. I'm skimming through all the old stuff. So it depends. Low to high, Bray, really depends on the asset that I'm working on. A lot of times what I do is I don't go low to high, I go mid. So for instance, on this model here, I've got a lot of these edges, right, that like just run across the top and don't do anything. To me, that's mid poly. Like it's not high poly, but it's not low poly. It's not optimized yet. And a lot of times I'll do something like that. And the reason that I do that is that it makes it easier to do the high poly by just throwing on chamfer and some turbo smoothing. And then it also is really easy to clean up to make the low. And so that's often the way that I set that up. Okay, so step 1, I'm going to go and attach like objects together. And what this is going to do is make it so that, oh, and I forgot to mirror that thing over. It's going to make it so that I have an easier time texturing without having way too many high poly meshes. So for instance, here I've got the screws, the rotation pins for the doors, and all of the door handles, all as one mesh. I'm going to isolate them. And we're just going to attach them all together. If Max... God damn it, would stop fucking with my interface. There we go. Okay, so we'll call this bolts underscore low. And that guy's done. While we're here, we're going to do an auto smooth. And we'll see what that looks like. Looks good. Okay. These guys should not have been edged. Let me grab that. a back? Well, there is a back on that thing. Okay, so that's something else that's going to change. I don't need... Oh. I didn't unwrap the handles. Where did the handles UVs go? I would have noticed this. The handles had these extra stuff on them. Let me go to my UVs. Fuck you, Maya. So all of this stuff just completely got missed inside of Maya. Don't know how. Stupid software. I must have just completely boffed on these. So I'm going to try and do these here in Max the Maya way. We'll see how that works. I'm just going to go and define where I want my seams first. If I can. This too should be broken off. There. We can do that to all the handles. That one. That one. That one. Jeez. Okay, I should have broken those. Why does it not zoom on that? It will on polygons. It won't on... Okay, so we're gonna break that. Break that. And that should give us some pretty interesting looking UVs. The same thing with this one. Here. And here. Break. Those are done. There's two more up here. Edge. Corkscrew. Edge. Corkscrew. And I'll break those. This. Not going to be able to do anything with at this point in time. Okay. All of this, because it's not all there yet. Some of it down here. Let's do Max's relax. Let's do an iterative pass on this. Okay. Go and pack them. And stop using Maya shortcuts. Ooh. Snakes. Why did it have to be snakes? I hate snakes, Jock. Yeah, these things are going back into Maya. Max is not going to be fast enough. Export. Actually, I got to bring the whole goddamn thing over. What's selected? I might as well take what I've done. It'd be really nice if Autodesk's... There's a button in here called Send to Maya. And it's grayed out. It doesn't work. The Send to Maya, Send to Max buttons in their own software don't work. Stupid company. I don't know how. Get by making software. That inept at making it. What the hell is that? What are you? Why is the face not unwrapped anymore? Okay. I'm really confused why my UVs are not UVs anymore. Okay. Planar projection. What is this? That's when I unwrap that. Uh-oh. I don't happen to have two of these things. I don't. What the hell is this? That's the door. But I did the doors. So what is unwrapped in here? Nothing has UVs anymore. What the fuck? Okay. It's a whole bunch of undo. How far back can Maya go in the undo? All my UVs are gone. Like they never existed. I'm out of UVs. I'm out of undo steps. And this is still broken. Still broken. So all of that UVing and going back and forth between Max and Maya. And I got no fucking UVs anymore. Yeah. All the UVs are bum. What the fuck happened? Yeah, the problem is that it's still the same mesh. The UVs are broken in the mesh. FBX. Furnace. Don't care about animation. Advanced. Nothing about UVs. Yeah, all the UVs are broken. What the fuck? Now Max decides it wants to paint my UVs because that's a thing. Are you fucking shitting me? Did it really shit all over my UVs? Mine hasn't got an auto back the same way Max does. And so, Jesus Christ, I'm not doing this all over again. You know what? Convert this thing to an edible poly. It's gonna live like this for now. And I'm gonna work on something else because fucking way. One more thing I can check. Let me open up my UVs. Close my UVs. Check for apps. Panel 2 has UV. No UVs. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's somewhere. Even my pivots are broken in this. Pivots back here. Oh, that's because I copied that one once I UV'd it. Right? Remember way back when that fucking leg had UVs? Stupid fucking software. I hate you, Autodesk. I hate you. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it in like this and UV it later because I'm not re-UV. That's some horse shit right there. So what I'm gonna do is jump into the structure. Unhide all. So this was this is the map that I'm using to build everything. The reason I want to go in here is that I want to import the furnace in here, so at least I can scale it correctly and put it where I want it to go. Oh yeah, it's itty bitty right now. So it's gonna go over here. I'm gonna rotate it 180. It's tiny. That is not the scale that's meant to be. Oh, why would you do I can scale it up to the size it's supposed to be. Back it into that little cubby corner, which is where that thing's supposed to go. And then what I'm going to do is affect pivot only. Not going to work. I'm going to work. Fuck it. It's the right size. Let's move it to the origin. Oop, oop, oop. That's going to break the back legs. I'm going to move the back legs by element. Back here. There. Okay. So now I can export this stupid thing. Now that it's the right scale. Yeah, I wonder if Max fucked the UVs up again. After all of that. Stupid software. Okay, meshes. It's going to come in here. Projects. All right, folder. Cabin in the Woods. Fabrics. Furnace. Yeah, that's fine. Degenerate. Yeah. It's not going to render correctly. That's fine. That's where it goes. Weep. Let's go to the top view. Position it a little bit better. See what kind of lighting it gets. And then what I'll do is I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of what I did on the weekend here on this, because again, not all of the process of the building of this happens during these live streams. I've got 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I typically will jump in and make something for this, and so I realized the furnace is. Oh wow, that's cool, man. Furnace broke, unreal. Good for you. Good for you, Unreal. You don't let Max tell you what to do. I'm going to open this up again. That is so freaking weird, man. Yeah, tell me about it, man. Oh, apparently I had fucked a lot. Let's restore all of those. Okay, it could not be fixed. Let's make sure that that actually is fixed. Open this up. Editor's this. Okay, that's back. That's the master. What did I change in here? I added the sphere collision. That's fine. That's the alien beast. That's fine. Let's save all. While I'm here, turn that off. And is the furnace still in here? It is. Really bizarre, man. Something really freaking broken with this mesh. Try the lighting again. Yeah. Save all. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all what's going on with this mesh. Why the UVs got broken in the FBX. I might have to actually watch my own live stream here. I might have done something inadvertently that caused that break when I was doing the UVs. I'm still totally going to blame it on Max, but okay. So you see things like the white on the legs here. That couldn't be a result of the directional light, and it's outside the building, but I've got a gap in between somewhere, in between the floor. You can see right here. There's no polygon here. And I can see up into the room from outside. This is why I like to close off meshes. Because right now, there's no way that directional light is actually touching this mesh. But because there's actually a negative hole here inside the wall where you can get all the way down, it is letting light bleed out and doing that. In fact, I found out that I don't even need my directional light. It's not doing anything in my world. Other than those tiny little things that were on the ground, the little hot spots here. And again, my goal was to have volumetric lighting come in and have those really nice beams. But these are going to be covered with corrugated metal, and so you're not going to see them anyway. Yeah, see, that's going to work quite nicely. And then coming out of these pipes here, this one actually goes into the ground. This one is going to go up and into the ceiling. And then the two little ones here, they're actually going to scour across the floor joists everywhere underneath. And so, yeah, I think that's taking up a good chunk of the room in terms of the placement. So let me show you a couple of things that I've gone and done here over the weekend. You can see turning off the directional light doesn't do anything in here. But anyway, that's where the furnace is going to live. Again, I got to put a sink right beside it, and then over here is going to be the water heater. And so that's kind of the layout that's going to happen there. And then I got to put the washer and dryer here, so they're going to stick out to about here. And then yeah, I've still got this whole section over here to do. But anyway, back to this. So a couple of things that I did. I manipulated my inventory system so that when you have something on screen, if you remember, the bowl of garlic is no longer a bowl of garlic. It's now just the one head of garlic, which is always what I wanted. And you can see why. It looks way better when you've got just the head of garlic here. So what I did is I set this up in such a way, so the problem with this was that every mesh is different in size. And I'm spawning the meshes when I pick them up. And because I'm spawning them, I can't change the size of every single mesh. I would need to have an array somewhere that tells me how big all the meshes are. And that's not an easy thing to do. And so what I did is I made a system that uses a collision volume to test and see how big the mesh should be, and just scales the mesh up to that size. And I'll show you that system in a second here. But I've got a coin here, and this is another really good example. Really, really, really tiny, itty-bitty coin on top of one of these barrels. That again, like, that would be impossible to get the targeting system on. But now I've got it, and there it is there. And so this crazy old gold coin. Now, the other thing that I might change is that the lighting on the mesh here is coming from the world. So when I looked at it from there, compared to when I look at it from here, you can see that the lighting is different. And that's something that I might have to change. I might have to create some more ambient lighting on those objects, but I don't know. But anyway, I made the coin. It's in here now. That's for Grendel. And so it's in the right place and does the right thing. I've got my pumpkin. The hat I did before. Here's the pumpkin now. I've got a pumpkin that I can go and manipulate. The poster, or the calendar, which I did at the end of the last stream, you can see now it works beautifully in terms of being able to set up the, that's the directional light. It's actually coming in the window, and it's streaking across the mesh. But that works really nice now. The single clove of garlic I showed you, the balloon. Now, the balloon works funny because it doesn't actually take the string into account in the scale of the mesh, which is not something that I did on purpose, but I like the end result of this, is that I can orbit around the balloon, and it's just the balloon that I see here. And then there's the cap, which again is just the teapot. There's no mesh for that. And then lastly, this is the mesh that I played around with a little bit on the... This is the one I did on the weekend. Is the alien pod. And so this is if you're going to be doing one of the like alien creatures. And so I made this kind of, alien xenomorph-esque pod that's got this kind of crazy material on it. If you notice it, it's kind of... That's awesome. If you notice it, it's pulsating. It's kind of like swelling, which is all in the shader. It's actually doing that on the shelf. So if you see it on the shelf here, put the camera in the right place, it's actually kind of swelling on the shelf. But anyway, it's really nice that I can actually start getting a lot of these meshes into place and start kind of putting stuff up in the way that I want. So again, I've got a really big empty area at this side of the room. And I thought one thing I might do was actually hang some fabric up here. I thought it might be neat to kind of walk through the fabric and have it manipulate. Yeah, see, I think it's going to be cool. You're going to be able to see just inside that furnace a little bit. I may put one of the items up on top of the furnace, so you have to go and look up here. But yeah, it's coming along. So let me show you how I built the system that I did for scale. So inside of my blueprints here is my my base pickup blueprint. So this is the pickup that drives all of the items that you can interact with. And so there's the alien pond, glistening sickly. That's gross. So what I did first is I put this collision sphere. And what the collision sphere is regardless as to the size or shape of my mesh, this collision sphere is what I'm interacting with when I pick up an item. So the nice thing about that is that, the itty bitty coin that's tiny down here, it has this giant collision mesh around it, and that's what you're interacting with when you go and pick it up. And so that works out really, really nicely. The other thing that I did is in the pickup blueprint. So in the pickup blueprint, I went and created this system here. And what this is, again, there's a box in here, this box here. And you're supposed to make your pickup, you can see the pod there is just about the right size. You're supposed to make your pickup fit within the confines of this box. And that's really hard because I don't want the coin to be that big, and I didn't want the single head of garlic to be that big, and that's why I made a bowl of garlic. And so what I did is I created a collision box right here. And I made that collision box about the size that the meshes are supposed to be. And then what I did in the construction script right here is that I get that box and we figure out how big it is. I take the scale in X, Y, and Z and divide them by the size of my mesh. Then I just find the biggest difference between those two, or the smallest number between those two. And I scale the mesh up to match that number. That means, in the case of the calendar, where it's really thin in one dimension, X and Y might be very, very small, but Z will be very, very big. And so this system just finds the largest size of mesh and scales up the entire mesh until it fits within the confines of that box. And so this means now it doesn't matter how big any of my pickups are. They're going to get scaled correctly right here when they get generated. Which means they're going to work just absolutely beautifully the way that I want them to. The other thing that I did, where are you? Examine, assign creature. There was something else that I did. I can't find it now. Anyway, there was something else that I did that helped the system work a little bit further. But I'm definitely at a point now where now it's just, gung-ho in the artwork and start prattling off as many meshes as I can. My hope is to do, one or two of these things a night, but when stuff like the furnace happens, man, it makes me want to drop kick my computer in the face. And so let me go and delete this guy. Let's see. Let's make something else. What else? Oh, you know what I can do? Here, let's reset without saving. Let me go and open. Let's see if I have this here. Projects down the bottom first, third, max. No. Maybe it's in not a max file. Let's try import. And again, we're gonna go back up. Whoops. Projects first, third. OBJ app open. So this was a baseball cap I made a little while ago. It was for a first-person shooter where I was making some. I was making a just a customizable character system, and so I had this baseball cap that I made, and it's got a Velcro thing in the front, so I could change the logo on it. Let me see. That's not what I wanted. Go into that projects folder. Deleted. Cap. Not here. Maybe it's in third. Textures. Shoe. Okay. Cap material. Cap OBJ. It would appear as though it never got textured. That can't be. It's in the game. Okay, I'm going to open up another Unreal project because I have the textures built for this already. And if I can, I'd rather kind of avoid texturing it all over again. All I want to do is just turn this into a black cap with a logo on it, which would be a fairly benign thing to do. So I'm going to open up this other project that I was working on for a little bit called Splat. And it should be in here somewhere. I'm going to do a search for cap. Textures. Cap. Those are textures, not materials. Material. Cap. Okay. There's a black cap right there. So it looks like my texture is actually just that. So these three guys here. Let's see. Open source location. That's what I want. This. I can't go to source location. It doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just copy them over. So textures. Materials. Make a new folder. Cap. And then I need to go to my Unreal Projects folder. I'll just lift this from the one that's already done. Unreal Projects. This was called Splat Content and Materials. Textures first. Textures. Cap. Let's start here. I'm gonna open a new one. Projects. Let's go to Unreal Projects. Cabin in the Woods. Content. textures and materials, and cap. So I'm going to grab arm, color, and norm, and I'm going to copy those into this project. And then the other thing I want to do is go to the materials, MA cap, like that in here. Okay, so now I actually should have the content. This thing's going to be broken because it doesn't know where the textures are. They're in a different location. But, oh, you don't know that. Oh, no, you do know it's on the map. That's okay. Here. Okay, so that should work again. And what I want to do is I want to put the logo on the front. And I need to bring the mesh in. So let's go to max. My mesh, let's go to the grid. And this is actually where the head would be, which is not what I want. This is not a wearable hat. We go place it at the origin. Like so. Pivot points at the origin. File. Export selected. And we are going to go to totem meshes. And this is Michael Myers. I'll overwrite Mike Myers. So, and now if I go to my Unreal project, and to show you how quick and easy it is to get all of these things going, watch how fast it is to actually get one of these things up. So I'm going to go to my meshes, and I'm going to go to the totem meshes, and in the totem meshes here we'll find Michael Myers, and I'm just going to re-import, and that'll swap it out with the hat. Next I'm going to open that hat up, go to my materials, cap, and I'm going to put the cap on him here. And now this is a black baseball cap, all pre-textured, which is really nice. Dunk, dunk, and dunk. The other thing that's really nice is that that now has replaced the teapot that was in the world now with the hat. And so I can actually hang this on the hook properly now and make it look the way it's supposed to look. But that's how quick and easy it is to use this system that I've got. Now to hang this and make it look natural. I'm going to put it on that. There. Yeah, that. So you weren't here, Christian, when we were talking about the garlic. The garlic is a mega scan. So I was testing out during this project how viable it is to use the mega scans. And the garlic is actually one of the ones that just happened to be in that collection. It was something that I needed and something that they actually had a scan of. And so that wasn't something that I was going to end up just modeling myself. If there's something there that already fits the bill, I'll use it. And I can show you another example of that. I have another mesh from the mega scans. Let me open up the bridge and show you how this works. So Megascan Bridge links to Unreal, and they've got a big collection of 3D assets that you can use, that you can go and plug into things. They've got all different categories, including edible, which is a nice one. You can see that even from the last time I did this, things have been updated, and that there's a lot more stuff in here. But anyway, I'm going to go to edible. And in edible, you'll see there's all kinds of things in here. That's where the garlic is. Here's a single clove of garlic. And then there's the head of garlic. You also see there's nuts and potatoes and cookies. Like, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have 9 different cookies. Which is just, like, that's mental, man. Why do you need that many 3D scans of cookies? Nonetheless, they're in there. All kinds of bread and ham and pumpkins and pears and apples, apple with a bite out of it. Here's a loaf of bread that's been cut. Here's all the shrooms. And so anyway, I want to use the carrot here. They're fantastic for ArchViz. I want to use the carrot here, and you can see that I've already downloaded. I get the little check mark here, and I've got the export button. That'll bring it directly into Unreal, but if I bring it directly into Unreal, it's going to break the system that I'm currently trying to use. That system is that this should be one of my totem meshes. So it's this one here, Jack Frost. That should be the carrot. So in order to make this work, what I'm going to do, let's delete the cap for now, is I'm going to go and import it from the downloaded folder. And so to do that, we'll go to Computer, E drive. I'm going to go to Megascans, downloaded, 3D, edible. I don't see it an edible. Only 2 in edible, and I don't think that's the garlic. Oh, there's the carrot there. And so what I'll do is I'll import the carrot. Yeah, that's exactly it, Ian. Free if unused in Unreal? You mean free if used in Unreal? But it also depends what you're using Unreal for, right? Like if you do ArchViz, then Unreal is completely free. Ian, our mask project isn't a game. And so to put that out, we don't actually owe them anything. So here's the carrot. And all I'm going to do, this is at the origin, and it's the size it should be. All I'm going to do is say export selected. And I'm going to go find Jack in here. There's Jack O'Lantern, Jason, and I don't see Jack Frost. So he might have a different name in here. I don't know why that is the case. Nice creature. Well, that's really quite bizarre. Let me go back into here and see what that file gets loaded from. Snow creature. So I changed the name inside of Unreal to be Jack Frost, but the original totem name was Snow Creature. And I don't have a Snow Creature. So I'm actually going to write a new one here. Jack Frost. Like so. That should mean when I go into Unreal and I try and re-import this, that it runs into an error where it can't find the mesh. And so I'll just go tell it, no, you should have been using Jack Frost. And so there. So now I've got the carrot in here. Yeah, I haven't looked into any of that stuff. Textures and materials, new folder. Carrot. In the carrot, we can go back to the folder. Thought I had the folder open somewhere. I don't. I was just going to drag them in. So D, Megascans, downloaded, 3D, edible. I hate the naming convention that they use. None of them make any sense. So I want the color, normal, and rough. So I'll bring those in. I'm going to create a new material out of this guy. MA carrot. Go inside there. And we'll drag these two things in. And this is rough. And this is normal. Normal. And I'll save that. And there. Carrot's done. So now, again, if I go into my system here, and I just grab the kid, child master. Let's see, where are we going to put the carrot? Let's put the carrot on this shelf. So I'm going to move this over here. Oop. And then we got to go find Jack Frost, which I think is number 12. Nope. 12 is the mutant. Don't know where it is. Blueprint, totems, Jack, Jack-o'-lantern. They changed its name to Snow Creature. Jack Frost. There he is. 18. 18. And as soon as it hits 18, wabamo, you got a carrot. Now the carrot's not being textured correctly, but that's okay. I can fix that. And the reason it's not being correct. Materials. So not materials. Carrot. There's the material. And totem meshes. Open this up. Carrot. Put the material on it. Oop. There. And there. Now I got a carrot just on a shelf here. And so yeah, if I go and play this now, and I make my way over to that shelf, and I pick up the carrot. Whoop. There. I got an interactable carrot that I can play with on screen. I love this description. Carrot. This little guy reminds you of that time you and your big sister, you know, the one with the cold powers, made that snowman-y? That should be snowman. That came to life. You had an epic adventure, saving your homeland and helping the people come to terms with your sister's abilities. Actually, come to think of it, that might have been someone else. Get out of here. And fix that. Can I edit this? I can't edit this. But it's pulling its information from the struct. Not pulling its struct. It's in here. It's actually in here. Right? How many people? The cold never bothered me anyway. Come on. We got 7-year-olds. Okay, Jack Frost. You know, the one with the cold powers that made that snow many? Snowman. Okay, save that. Save all. And that's how easy it is to bring those things in. It's just a matter of going to create the meshes. Now, I need to finish the texturing on the hat in order to make it work. And that'll be pretty simple. I just need to check out what the UVs look like. I'm going to hit undo a couple of times. We'll delete the carrot. And I'm going to open the UVs in the hat. And I should have, there it is down there. It's in the bottom left-hand corner. That's the patch that goes on the hat. And I did set it up so that it's pointing to the right here. So all I'm going to do is just put the Wayne's World logo in there. So I'm going to make a new image. And I'm going to make this 2048. It's bigger than I want it to be. But I need the logo to be as clean as I can get it. Kind of the only real detail that's on this thing. Trying to see if I can actually find a version of it that's embroidered, which would look better. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Oh, I can make that work. Okay, got a picture of a hat, and it's got the logo on it. And what I'm going to do, I actually just want the white. But what I'm going to do is rotate this 90 degrees and bring it into the right corner. And scale it down a little bit. Should actually probably get the UVs here. Tool, UVW template at 2K. Okay. I'll just copy that to the clipboard. Let me hit enter and then paste this as a screen. Back to the cap. Scale it. A little bit more. That. Now all I want to do is fill in the rest of the image with black. Don't need this anymore. Don't need the white on this anymore. And we're going with the eraser. Again, this kind of just works out that I already have a baseball cap that I modeled. Which is, again, one of those things that as a character artist, I tend to have a bunch of this stuff for characters that I've, already made. If it's too old and too low res, then, I'll upscale it and make a better version of it. But I tend to have, little things that I can use on my characters already. So there. And that's all I needed. I'm going to save this as a targa. So where am I going here? Let's go to projects. What was this called? Cabin in the Woods. Textures. Actually don't have a cap folder. I'll make one. And the only thing in there is going to be the emblem. I'll do is a PNG. And I'll just go make modifications to the material to add this. So in here, import logo, data, project, cabin in the woods, cabin in the woods, okay, material, the logo in. All I'm going to do is add it at the end of my color. Like so. There should be my logo somewhere. The other thing that I might do, see if I can do this. Normal from height map. And the height map is going to be a texture 2D texture object. Like so. We're going to do a normal blend. Blend this with the actual normals. And all I'm doing here is I'm generating a normal map from the image. And we're going to see how well that works. So normal map intensity 0.5. Save the material here and see how it looks. Perfect. Now that normal map, not good. Shifting it too much. We'll just do away with it. And yeah, that reads the way I want. Now, it might bother me a little bit how clean this black hat is in the middle of the room. F11 full screen. And you really got to get the lighting correct. It's just completely black on one side. Unless I get it from this angle. And it's black on the other side. Unless I get it from here. And now it's completely lit. The inside of that hat doesn't look so good. But texturing wise, did the trick. And so now I get a hat. Let's see. How many of these other things can I knock off that quickly? I guess I need my list too, because I don't remember what most of the totems are supposed to be. A bouquet of flowers. I might be able to assemble that from the. Be able to assemble that from the mega scans. I know there's a bunch of flowers in there. I don't know that it's going to look like a bouquet from a wedding. Tree branch as well. I've got the deadites. And so I need that. The ram skull. For the demon. That should be, I think that one's an easy one. Go to the bridge. Let's clear this. And I'm going to do a search for skull. And they have a ram skull. That's useful. Apparently I've already downloaded it. So that should be a simple matter of import. If I could find it. Again, a lot of this stuff was chosen because of where it is. You know, stuff that was going to be really, really quick. Yeah, the scan stuff is really, really nice. There are problems with the scan stuff. You do have to be a little careful what stuff you choose. Okay. None of it's named either. And so you have no idea. Okay. Go to local. Apparently skull is here. Oh, I grabbed a bunch of these bones too. They've got some scans of ram bones. Oh yeah, I've got a lot of photogrammetry stuff that I've done myself, Christian. So this is one of the downsides of this system, is that they don't use any kind of naming convention for anything. This item is called Ram Skull, and there's no indication as to what it's called, what they used as a naming convention for this asset. And so you've kind of got to go through the folder. Where are you? Drive, mega scans, downloaded 3D, and find what it might be. So it's not clay or man-made or metal. I've got a couple of miscellaneous ones. That's bone. That looks like the skull. Okay. So it's TIIIEF2A. You see the problem. That one. It's really stupid. Like, why wouldn't you name it something like a name that people can find or people can use? Okay. I'm gonna convert this to an editable poly and export selection. This is gonna go over demon. Like so. And then in Unreal, I'm going to go to Textures and Materials, make a new folder, Ram Skull, I think is a metal band I might have listened to at one point. Import, data, mega scans, downloaded, 3D, 2FA, diffuse, normal, rough, import, create a new material from the diffuse called MA RAM. And that's already in the right place. That's in the right place. And that's in the right place. Save it. Close it. That open for the time being. Let's dock this. Come back to it. So now I can go to my meshes, totems, find demon, and re-import the demon. Open the demon. and assign the demon. Pretty decent. So now, my cabin in the woods, I can go and put that ram skull somewhere. Let's take the balloon. Alt to make a copy. We'll put the copy on the shelf. Obviously not meant to be a balloon. The demon is number 4. So I'll change the input number to 4, and now we what? Okay, something is amiss. That system should have just worked. Save all. Okay, so something's going wrong with this. It's not assigning the mesh. So the only thing that I can think of is that my blueprint is not wired up. Child. I'm going to go to the assigned creature. Assign mesh. Means that one of these suckers is not wired up. Or is not spitting out the right name. Okay, Alien Beast, Bride, Killer Clown, Deadite. Deadite. Ah, there are 2 Deadites. Shit. And I don't know which one should be the demon. Okay, we'll try the second one first. We'll recompile that. It was the second one. Good. And so there, ram skull. And that one works. I should probably put a little bit more care into placing these things on the shelves so that they make sense. They're not just all centered. Let's go see how it works. I want to make sure that I'm double checking. Ah! So we got a problem with this too. Ram skull. The smell is worse than it looks. And it looks terrible. On closer inspection, there appears to be some red wax on the skull. Maybe someone used this in some unholy ritual. Or maybe someone was just careless with a candle. Okay, so why is that broken? So you... Demon. Get the display name from the static mesh, which is demon. And that's good. Sign that. That's good. On examine. Okay, let's go check the other blueprint. Assign mesh. That's why. They were both wrong. File. There we go. 1. Roast out. Skull. So the orientation of this, the pivot point, is screwed up. And that's because of where I put it in 3ds Max. They want me to spit these things all out, not sitting on the ground, but buried in the origin. That sets the rotation point for the mesh. So I center this. The better I center it, the better it's going to work. Export selection. This was demon. And there. That should be as easy as re-import. That system should work again. Close this. Mesh, totem mesh, import. Move it on the shelf. Pivot point chain. But worked nicely. There we go. I may make that box bigger so that I can get them zoomed in a little bit more, but that looks pretty good. Garlic works well. Take a look at the carrot. Yeah, see, the carrot's another one, like, it could be bigger on screen. But system's working, and I'm slowly starting to populate enough of these things here that it's getting there. Again, a few of these things are things that I'm going to have to model that I just don't have the item in question. And some of them I'm trying to reuse assets wherever I can. Let's go try and make those meshes bigger. This should be done in here using the scale mesh. This guy. So this thing is currently snapped to there. Let's just set it to 0.1, 0.1, 1. Lock the ratio and do 0.25. Compile that. Let's see if that works any better. Let's go pick up the coin. Ooh. Big ass coin. That might be a little too big. Creepy little girl. You like that thing, do you? I think I made the lips a little too pink. I was really trying to go H.R. Geiger with it and have it resemble genitalia a little too much, I think. But yeah, it's supposed to just kind of look like the facehugger pod without actually being a facehugger pod. I've got it kind of pulsating and there's some little bits of movement inside it. But yeah, I think I went too stark a contrast in the coloring between what's on the opening and the green of the mesh. God, my daughter creeps the fuck out of me. I want to check out how all of these meshes work with the larger scale. Ooh. Oh, that's wrong. That worked better. Oh, Jesus. There's some big-ass garlic. Okay, so that number is going to be too big. Oh, but see, the poster actually works really well at that scale. Or the calendar. I think it's just one of those things. That I'm not ever gonna get all of the meshes the way that I want them. Whoa. Yeah, see, that scale works a lot better for this thing, too. The only real question is, do I actually go and put some red wax on this like I mentioned in the description? Coin is huge. Yeah, so I gotta bring that number down. That 2 is 0.25 is too big. Let's try 0.2. Simply. Oh, see, that's good. Actually, that is the right angle from which you should be picking up this coin. Scale on that is beautiful now. Okay. Oh. Every now and then, pivot points get broken. The garlic's a little oversized. Yeah, see, the pivot point's completely broken on that. But if I put it back and pick it up again, now it's just fine. I'm not sure what does that. Pumpkin? What do hillbillies do on a Halloween? Why, they pumpkin. Cool, man. I'm digging the system. Digging the system. All right, I'm gonna call that it for tonight. I've been defeated by the furnace, and it'll take me a little while to get my courage up to go and wrap that stupid thing again. And then I got to create a modular pipe system that I can use to actually bleed out from the furnace, so that there's a rhyme and a reason to all that stuff. And so I'd like to set it up on a spline, I think, so that I can actually just run a spline through the house, and the pipes will just follow it. I think that might be the easiest way to do this. Big chunk of stone. Something. I gotta go through these things and figure out which are gonna be easy, which are gonna be hard. Anyway, save all. Thanks again for hanging out and watching. And I'm gonna be back at this again tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do about getting some more of these assets done. Maybe, hopefully, getting that stupid furnace done, so I don't have to have it sitting on my mind that the UV's broke. And then yeah, I'm gonna go and keep plugging away at some more stuff to fill the room with, and the washer and dryer is gonna help. And then I've still got this whole corner over here that needs set dressing, and so that's my goal is for the next couple of nights here, getting this done, to try and get a good chunk of the environment put together that it'll correctly. And then I want to do something a little bit more with the environment too. It's I dig how dark it is and it feels moody, but I think it's a little overkill in some places where it's just black and you can't see anything. And I don't think I need that. I think I need a little bit of lighting in some of these places, and so Yeah, I think that'll be what we're gonna hit the next couple of days. And I'll build the system that's gonna go on top of the Windows too, and then yeah, we'll keep kind of plugging away at this. And so, come check back tomorrow. Again, I'll start live streaming at about 8 o'clock or so, and you're welcome to come check it out and see as this progress starts moving on. So yeah, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.